Good day and thank you for joining CivilNet. My guest today is Simon Zopellara. We spoke to him a while back when we learned that he had been blacklisted by Azerbaijan for visiting Nagorno-Karabakh. Simon is a journalist and currently has a book. It's titled Armenia Today: Dramas and Challenges Faced by a Living Nation. Thank you for being here today, Simon. I just wanted to meet you in person after our conversation via Skype. So you're here for a special visit to Stepanakert today. I hear you're getting a medal.
Yes, I'm getting a medal from the president of Nagorno-Karabakh, and yes, then I will stay some days there in Stepanakert.
And the medal is for, do you know what exactly? For your book, for your work, for reporting?
For my work as a journalist, they told me I don't have anything written at the moment, but it will be together with an Italian colleague, that is Daniele Bellocchio. This will come tonight. And yes, it is for our work as journalists covering Nagorno-Karabakh, they told us.
So for a journalist to be receiving a medal from a country in conflict, how do you feel about that? Do you feel that your fairness is compromised? You're receiving a medal from one side for the work you did and probably have no connection and are not even allowed to visit the other side.
Yes, I'm not allowed to visit the other side. It's not my choice. Of course, I was blacklisted like many other colleagues in Italy and in other countries. And well, I feel fine. It's not my intention to take side in a conflict. And I see it just as a positive sign. And I think it is positive to have an involvement of Western medias in this conflict. That is my work. For many years, this conflict has been forgotten. Nobody was caring about it in the West. Italian media or European media generally was ignoring this long conflict, and I hope now there will be more attention, and I'm trying to do my small part in order to reach more attention for this conflict, not for taking side, but simply to have, that is my hope, more involvement from the international community in this conflict. The international community has a very, I think, negative role in what is happening. Europe didn't help, the single countries didn't help, the West didn't help, and if we have today this conflict with no solution is also the fault of the West, and I hope that speaking about it will attract more interest in this conflict.
But let's forget about politics for a while. But do you think that the civil society is something, the Karabakh conflict is something this European civil society will pick up or be passionate about at any point, no matter how well informed or uninformed they are?
Well, I hope so. It should be a duty, I think, of civil society also to have an involvement in this conflict. It is not just the politicians that has to help, I think. It is also civil society. Civil society didn't know basically about this conflict for a long time. You know, it happened in the 90s, and in the 90s for Italy or for Europe, the priority were the Balkans, when there were a civil war and many massacres, even a genocide was happening. So they ignored, for the beginning, this conflict. Now, I hope, after what happened last year and in April, there will be a new attention, and I hope there will be also the involvement of civil society. Actually, Italy was also quite active. There were Italians that helped in Karabakh, like Antonio Montaldo, the consular we have in Gyumri, and other individuals helped. So I hope there will be more involvement in the future.
So you're Italian, you work for an Italian news outlet, but you reside in Germany.
Yes, I reside in Germany. I write also about Germany. I'm a freelance writer, but I write about for different papers in Italy, La Stampa, Il Manifesto, Il Giornale. I collaborate with many radios also.
So is there a difference between these two European societies as to how they would perceive a conflict like the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict or a country like Armenia?
Yes, in Germany there was more attention during April for the conflict, and I was in Italy, but I think in general the civil society is more active in Italy. There are more associations, there are more individuals also like Antonio Aslan and many others that could reach a great involvement of the civil society for Armenia in general. Less we could say for Karabakh, but also something for Karabakh. In Germany, there was more attention from the media, maybe from the institutions, but I think my opinion is less from the civil society about Southern Caucasus and Armenia.
So how many times have you been to Armenia and to Nagorno-Karabakh?
Okay, to Nagorno-Karabakh, it will be the third time I go. I've been in September, I've been in May, and I will go tomorrow. To Armenia, well, I used to live here for 1 year. Then I came for different periods of several months, so basically I spent here 2 years.
So was that year the period that's largely covered in your book?
Yes.
It's like, I know, even though it's in Italian, and I wish I could have an English version to read, or Armenian, so it's Electric Yerevan, it's the System of a Down concert, it's the April War, it's a collection of your work, the different articles about Armenia. Could you tell us more?
Yes, of course. The idea of the book started from Anton Aslan, that asked me if I was interested in proposing something about contemporary Armenia, because we don't have much in Italy about contemporary Armenia. We have many books, many documentaries about the genocide, about the past, but about Karabakh and about contemporary Armenia we have much less. So my idea was to recollect a reportage and materials that I produced in 2015. Why this year? Because this year is 100 years after the genocide. So it is a symbolic year. Not only, it was also the year of Electric Yerevan, it was also the year of in which many Syrians reached these countries. So I used this year as a frame, we could say, to recollect articles that I published in Il Manifesto and other papers in Italy. And then I produced also some new materials covering what happened also recently in Karabakh and other topics.
So have you followed the July developments this year? July developments in Armenia, the Daredevils of Sassoon takeover of the police patrol station. Are you up to date with recent developments now?
Yes, I am.
I imagine so. Given all this, given that you've witnessed, the ever exciting System of a Down concert, which everyone talks about and I haven't been to, unfortunately, Electric Yerevan, Karabakh, given that you have a good sense of what's happening, what's your general overview of possible change, political change in Armenia? Because for us it's very personal, and we might get emotional as to what we might expect or give up. But for you, from an semi-outsider's point of view,
yes.
how does that come around?
We could say that what I see in Armenia, there is a fantastic new generation of young people that are very talented, very clever, educated. They speak several languages, but this generation is stopped by a system of corruption, by oligarchs, and by a political system that is not, we could say, taking in consideration this new part of society. And I think this critical moment for this reason, the civil society tried several times with Electric Yerevan, before it, with the protest for the pension, for the missing transportation, after it, during the hostage crisis. They tried several times to have an involvement, but they couldn't. And this is a very big point, I think, also because the economic situation is weak, definitely. Karabakh is living a dangerous moment, and I really hope there will be a change from this point of view, because I'm worrying about Armenia and I'm worrying for these reasons. There is a fantastic generation really of young people that are very creative, they are doing fantastic things with limited means also, because there aren't much money here, we know. But they don't, they should do something more, and it is not their fault if they're not doing something more for their country.
You also covered the Caucasus region, and it's become, unfortunately, customary for us to constantly compare ourselves to neighboring countries. Mm-hmm. Where do you think Armenia stands within the region, the Caucasus, as far as potential development goes, or change in the country?
Armenia has problems that other countries doesn't have. The isolation, for example. Armenia is very much isolated, especially in this period. They don't have allies. And two borders are completely blocked, Azerbaijan and Turkey, there is an ongoing war. But also the old allies of Armenia now are a bit looking somewhere else, like Iran, like Russia. And this is a big problem of this country. The other two countries are very much more, we could say, connected to the international community. And this is another big risk that I could see in this moment in Armenia. The potential, I told you, is definitely the civil society here, and here's the good news, but the bad news is all the rest, and the political situation and international situation is definitely negative.
So one last question, are there plans to translate your books to make it accessible to a wider readership?
Yes, definitely, I would like to. There were some contacts about a translation in Spanish, but we are not sure yet. There should be an agreement, and there were some other interest for making maybe an Armenian translation. Let's see. It is just 1 month it was published, a couple of months it was published, so for the moment it's going well and I'm quite satisfied.
All right, thank you very much and best of luck in Karabakh. Enjoy your stay there, and you'll also be working other than...
Definitely, yes. I will go and cover the front line if possible and make interviews, yes.
Well, we'll be looking forward to follow again, but language problems. All right, and we thank the viewers for joining us. Stay well, CivilNet, for more interviews, conversations, and news.